What is going on, everybody? I am back with the title says it all. The Mariners play sloppy today, and they drop the series to Cleveland. They fall to 1-3 on the year after a really fun and encouraging opening day victory. The Mariners now sit at 1-3, and no matter what way you shake it, listen, we're 4 games into the season. It's not certainly anything that I'm gonna hit the panic button about. If you guys have watched my previous post-game videos, I talk about you got to give it a month. You got to let some things settle in, unless it gets so out of control. If you're like the Reds last year when they were 3-20, you got to let guys settle in a bit. If this happened at the end of June, beginning of July, and the Mariners lost 3 or 4 to Cleveland, I don't think many people bat an eye at it too much. You'd say it happens. The Mariners were going to lose 3 out of 4 at some point in the season. They were going to lose 3 in a row at some point. It just stinks that all we have to go on is them doing it in the first 4 games. And I remember when the team was struggling last year at the start of the year, when they were 30-39 or 29-39. And one of the themes was, we always talk about this team is the offense and the offense and the pitching were never on the same page. They were either losing 1-0 or 9-8. Before I go any further, hit the sub button, new name. Jay's Trident Podcast, because we're going to be talking a lot of Mariners. Nothing with the content is changing, but just a new name, so if you guys could hit the sub button, I'd appreciate it. But yeah, that was kind of the theme. The pitching would be on and the offense would sputter. Like last night, pitching was really good. Offense sputtered. Friday night was kind of everything was off. And then today, the offense produces, but the pitching just not good enough. And I don't think the pitching was terrible today and the offense wasn't amazing, but, that was kind of the pattern. And it's off to that again, and sloppy play. The fly ball in the 8th that JP and Julio kind of bobbled at and whatnot should have been caught by somebody. Cal Raleigh throwing away the ball in the 10th, and I love the big dumper, but threw that away. And even Ty, I thought had a chance to maybe dig that out. It wasn't a good throw, but Ty had a chance to possibly dig that out as well. So just sloppy all around from the Mariners today. And it cost them a game. When you're playing good teams, a team that is going to likely be in the playoffs, you can't do it. They lose by 1 run. There you go. The sloppy play costs them. A Mariners team that likes to play those 1-run games is now 0-1 on the year in 1-run games. And it goes to show, too, that 1-run games just aren't about bullpens, because the Mariners have a good bullpen, and they lose their first 1-run game of the season. So, it sometimes comes down to other factors, too. Listen, I'm not a big productive outs guy. I'm not a big situational hitting guy. At the end of the day, good hitters hit. You know what I mean? It's not about like, oh, they've got to be better at moving runners over and doing this. I'm not really that type. You know what I mean? Like, the goal is to get hits and get on base, and outs and out, and it usually doesn't help you. But, like, there have been some times in this series, could they just get a runner in from third? They had a bunch of them on opening day that they couldn't do. I think they had a couple on Friday they couldn't get in. And then today, even in the 10th, Sam Haggerty is on third after being the ghost runner, if you want to call it. He swipes third and Eugenio strikes out. Now, listen, I love Gino, but strikeouts are a big part of his game. But could somebody hit a deep fly ball to score a run? They had a chance in their 3-run third to add another run. Runner at third, Lesson Shots couldn't do it. It's just, and again, like, it's not so much that, oh, they just need to be, like, those things will come. They'll get those runs in. I'm not super worried about it, but it is frustrating when it's happening to watch it, because it's like, could somebody just hit a medium fly ball to get a run in? Like I said, it will happen eventually. It's not something I'm worried about. It's not like I think the Mariners are great. They're just not good at moving runners over. Like, if this team is not going to make the playoffs, it's going to be because they just weren't good enough to get it, not because they weren't making productive outs. But it would be nice if they could do some of that when the opportunity is there. Julio, another great game. Got caught stealing, but hits his first home run of the year. Again, he's had now 3 balls that I think if we were in June or July, he would have 3 home runs. Ty France, a couple hits. Gino, good to see him get a couple hits, an extra base hit. Cal Raleigh, a couple hits there and a couple RBIs. He's off to a nice start. Good to see Teoscar Hernandez get his first hit. Just missed a home run there off the wall. According to the that Twitter account, the Would It Go Out Twitter account, it would have been a home run at Petco, I believe, and that was it. And then Sam Haggerty actually missed one in the 8th that would have been out, I believe they said, in San Francisco and nowhere else. So a couple balls that, the Mariners were close on. Jared Kelenic had a couple nice at-bats, did work a walk. JP struggled 0 for 4. I'm going to sound crazy here. I thought Marco was fine. I know he gave up the 3-run home run to Zunino. But, I think he had a walk and then just a little seeing eye single, and Zunino just got one out, kind of golfed it, and it was out by 10 feet. Marco is a soft-tossing lefty. He's Jamie Moyer. They live and die on that. Like, that's kind of their game. It's this when the seeing eye singles get through and those hits just tend to get out, their goals that goes 10 feet, shorter and it doesn't go out. Like, I know that sounds like, well, no duh, but I mean, when you're a pitcher like that, the soft-tossing lefties, the Jamie Moyers, the Marco Gonzalez's, you kind of need those breaks, and when it doesn't happen, this can happen. Marco's fine. He's going to be the same pitcher he's always been. If you think he's going to take a big leap forward for some reason, that's not going to happen. But if you think he's trash all of a sudden and just garbage, he's not that either. He's a back end of the rotation starter. Like I said, he's Jamie Moyer. He's fine. There would have been a time, 15, 20 years ago when this rotation was Gil Mesh, Ryan Franklin, Pinheiro struggling. We were looking like, God, get Jamie on the mound for us. Get me Jamie Moyer. He was the only steady presence. Now we've kind of got that in Marco Gonzalez, but the rotation is so good now that we kind of look down on Marco. Marco's fine. I have no issues with him. He's a back end of the rotation starter. He kind of did his thing today. He did. If that Zunino ball goes 10 feet shorter, we're talking about Marco did his thing. And listen, he left with his team in the lead. Like, I know he gave up 4 runs in 5 innings, a 7.2 ERA isn't good by any means, and 2 walks, 1 strike. And I'm not saying Marco was, like, amazing or anything, but that's what we would have taken that. And I thought Trevor Gott, as my kid is screaming, it seems like every video I have, I've got to have one screaming kid in the video. I thought Trevor Gott did a real nice job. Brash was fine. That was that kind of double that should have been caught. Munoz was great. Sewald was fine. Penn Murphy, you come into a tough spot in extra innings with a runner on. I really do like, is it Gabe Spire, the guy that came up for Robbie Ray? I thought he pitched well. He should have had the double play on Josh Naylor in the 10th inning, threw it home, and then he struck out. I don't remember who he struck out after that, but he looks like he could be somebody. And there were some people that thought he might make this team, out of spring training. So that was good to see. He's been in the Royals organization the past few seasons. Hasn't pitched too much, 17 games last year, just looking at his numbers there. But he looks like somebody that could stick around. It'd be nice to have a lefty in the pen. It's not quite as valuable now with the lefties. Now you have to face 3 hitters. You don't really have that need for that lefty specialist that's there to get Barry Bonds out. But it wouldn't be the worst thing having a lefty in this bullpen. And Spire looks like he's pretty decent. He should have gotten out of that bases loaded jam against a good hitter in Josh Naylor. So he did his job. Listen, again, I'm sounding like a broken record through these recaps, but you just can't look too much into this. We're 4 games in. If someone asks me, I got a message, someone messaged me, not on here, but a buddy was like, when do you panic? Like, I don't know. I don't have a specific number. I mean, yeah, I get you like 1-8, 1-9. It's like, yeah, you need a W here eventually. Like, the team does need to win games, and they all count for 1. I said that opening night, so, get wins while you can. These losses count, but, Cleveland's a good ball club. It's hard for me to be too concerned at this point in the season. It stinks that the opening homestand, they end up losing 3 in a row and lose 3 out of 4, but, they're 2 wins against the Angels away from us being, hey, they're back 3-3, they're fine. So I'm not too worried, like I said, about this overall. You try to look at one game at a time. And it's like, what would it take for me to be concerned? I don't know. I don't know what that number is. We'd have to get there. Yeah, they get swept by the Angels. My word, yeah, 1-6 stinks. That's not good. But I don't know exactly what my mind, when it will go, okay, we got to start having conversations here. So I usually wait till May, and I think this team will be fine. Again, I said it last night, but if your expectations of this team was they were a World Series contender, that shouldn't change. And if you thought they were bad, then that shouldn't change either. I will say, I know some people were critical of the team's offseason, didn't think they did enough. There is some good justification for that so far. There's been a lot of crucial at-bats that have come from Tommy La Stella, Cooper Hummel so far. I'm not going to lie, looking at this, you look at the other side, a guy like Josh Bell, who, 2 walks today. Yeah, he's not, crushing the ball yet, but you wouldn't mind having someone like that at DH that could just take those at-bats and was pretty cheap. Like I said, Josh Bell's not lighting the world on fire either, but, there was a crucial at-bat today. I think it was in the 8th, and it went to Tommy La Stella, and rightfully so. We should have pinched hit for Pollock in that situation. I'm not mad at Scott for that. But, yeah, you maybe like some a little better there, but it's also not going to be up and down the lineup, perfect. And we knew this lineup wasn't necessarily the best. It's good enough. With this pitching. And then the Robbie Ray injury hurts too. So definitely a little adversity early on for the Mariners, but, nothing that a win can't cure, essentially. So they'll be back at it tomorrow. I'm going to try to go live tomorrow and do a play-by-play for the game. I know I keep saying that. I want to do one. So maybe tomorrow will be the one that I can do that for. George Kirby will make his season debut tomorrow for the Mariners against Reed Detmers. A good young lefty for the Angels. So the Mariners have their work come out for him. And we know how Trout does when he comes into Seattle. I think he's hit 27 home runs in Seattle last year, it felt like it. And Shohei Ohtani. So a good Angels team. Are they known for disappointing? Yes. But there is talent there. We don't have the A's coming in quite yet, this season. So an Angels team that is capable of winning ball games. So, yeah, I mean, that's about wraps it up. Hopefully the team can bounce back tomorrow and get a win. Disappointing start to the season. Thank goodness Ty France hit that 3-run home run, because 0-4 would sting a lot more than 1-3, but just a couple wins away from getting things rolling here. So hopefully that starts tomorrow. Please hit the sub button. Let me know what you guys think so far in the comments down below. And thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later. Go M's. Peace.